just excellent. Goody goody. That looks like we have gone live, which is cool. Let's just wait and see if anyone comes in to join us this morning. We're a little bit early. We don't know what Facebook is up to. I know Crafty Jax has said she's coming, but that's cool. Oops, let's just turn that down. There we are. Excellent. And we won't have a double echo of what's being said. And we'll just get our hands clean whilst the going is good. Good morning, Anthony. Welcome to my live this morning. It's much appreciated. We're having some mayhem going to go on here. Could you just confirm that you can hear me without any problems? Good morning, Crafty Jats. Thank you for joining me. It's lovely. Right, let's clear some of this clutter out of the way. We've got lots of product here, so let's just move some of it. So give myself a bit more room. Thank you, Crafty Jacks. That's lovely. Thank you, Aunt. I had to reset up OBS this morning. I don't know what it was doing, but anyway, it decided it would have a dicky fit. So it almost certainly something I've done. So cool. Let's see if anyone else comes in to join us. Let's move some of this lot out of the way, pop it into some neat piles, and then I can hopefully know where I'm going with it all. Hopefully we'll remember where the plans were for it all. It's never guaranteed, is it? Never guaranteed in this world. Good morning. Hello, Anna. Welcome, my darling. I've noticed what you're up to. I've seen that you are restarting your limited edition kits, which will be lovely, because I think there is definitely a place for kits in our world. It saves people having to invest in masses of stuff and then have a craft den that is as busy as mine is. Good morning, Alison. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Joan. So I've currently have a house that's I wouldn't quite say in chaos, but we've got all sorts of decorations and painting going on, and so at the moment I've got stuff all over the place. So I'm sticking to doing the mixed media paper-based combined activities at the moment, but ultimately once I can spend a bit more time in my craft room rather than it all being right, so we won't be spraying water. Where's my spray gun? Oh well, never mind, we'll do it without. So I will then get my act together and prep for what am I trying to say? For an album making activity, because that will then be easier for everyone. Let's just pop some water onto here. So I'm currently recycling a frame. Rather than, so let's just dilute this down. So this Hobbycraft's wooden frames used to be true 12 by 12 sized, but at the moment they're now Well, that's clearly sitting on the top of there rather than sinking in. Well, that'll be fun. Let's see if it'll work. We will find out. So I just squidged some water down into here because normally MDF bases suck stuff up, but this one seems to be not. So we might just have a little mop of that because it's definitely sitting on the surface rather than going in. Anyway, the frames nowadays are definitely 30 by 30, so just a little heads up, ladies, if you are wanting to do something like similar like this, and you're using a Hobbycraft neutral frame, you might well find that it's not the same size as they historically were, which is cool. And that's way too wet, so just let me just mop up some of that. That's my own fault for not checking that up front, because it's, as I say, it's a recycled frame. I'm taking stuff off my wall as I'm doing things, so that is cool for here. So there we are, and that hopefully is a goodly enough layer of that. Oopsie. So the papers that I am using this morning are Alchemy of Arts and by Karolina Bukowska. Sorry, Anna, if I've crucified that name. And and then I've combined it with there was some hot glue melted onto there. Good morning, Marisol. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, Anya. Welcome. I hope you are well. So there we are. That's slid around a bit. So let's just re-slide that so it's vaguely centralised, because that would be good. And the advantage of the water is that at least it is slipping, which is cool. And from that point of view, let me just grab something else, and that can get stuck down. We'll add a bit more under here. Good morning. Well, I know Facebook has promptly said it's going to last for until 1 o'clock. It's so not, but it might be a couple of hours like it was last week. There we are. Let's just get that where we missed the glue at the edges. There we are. Now, I don't possess clear gesso. I know, something I don't have in my stash. That's a major miracle, isn't it? I hear you all say. Good morning, Angela. Hello, Alison. I hope I've not missed anyone. Please don't think I'm rude. If I have, it's so not intentional. As I say, I so don't have any clear gesso in my stash. I've got plenty of black, I've got plenty of whites, probably because Pentart don't do white gesso, but they do decoupage glue, and you can add this just as easily over the top. And because I'm going to want to add some extras onto this, I am going to seal it with my decoupage glue, because this will then allow it to dry, and I can then add another layer over the top, securing the knowledge that if I make a mess of it, I can then, let's just shuffle some glue underneath that corner, there we are, I can then add mediums over the top safely. So this will work very similarly to adding clear gesso. Gesso might be a bit cheaper, but if it's something you're only going to use occasionally, then having a product that you can use for other things, to me, makes a shed load of sense. So I'm deliberately keeping my strokes in one direction. I'm adding a reasonably good layer. Don't want to miss it. That will seal that paper in for me, and then it can go on to ground floor level drying. Good morning, Sylvia. I trust that Portugal is warm this morning and not blowing a hoolie. I'm sort of waiting for, well, actually we're just outside the area for the severe wind warnings that are in place in the UK, so that's cool. Alright, so let's get rid of that and stick that onto the floor and realign that. So, now the frames are shadow box frames because, as we know, I like things that are dimensional, and this is the first insert that goes into it. So I'm choosing to work with decor paint chalky, and I have got violet and eggplant because I think some of those colours will work with the papers that I've got that I'm using. And I'm continuing on my mission to use things because I don't very often use purple because, well, just because I don't. I'm much more a blue person than a purple. You keep freezing. Think it might be yours. You're not free because I've got mine running, dear, and it's definitely not freezing on mine. So let's just give this a coat. It's a start to finish project, apart from a little primer with some black gesso. Chalky paints cover nicely without having to prime this, and that will then just make life altogether a bit quicker. Is anyone else having problems with it freezing? On my phone, which I've set up next to me, it's not freezing. So I'm thinking it might be a local issue, but who knows with Facebook? It does, or in fact, who knows with internet connections? They can all be a wee bit faddy, can't they? So I know where I am. We can't get Freeview, but we can but the internet connection's not generally terrible, so that's good. There we are. Don't need to do all inside and outside of these because because some of it's not going to be shown, but this inside rim will be shown. I just think it's nice to see what I do and how I frame and protect my pieces. Now, thank you, Joan. Oh dear, it's probably your internet then, my darling, if it's doing it on lots of them. Now I know from past experience that it's absolutely worth adding a layer of paint to the top pieces of these, because sometimes they'll slide in the frames and then you'll get a little glimpse, and I would rather have a little glimpse of the purple that I'm using rather than the white. If that makes sense, but there we are. Let's just get that covered, and then we've got the proper frame. So I think it might, there's lots of different ways that you can customize pre-made frames. If you're thinking about doing shadow boxes and using pre-made pre-built frames, and obviously you can get them in lots of places, my advice or my suggestion, depending on how you want to feel about it, is that you go for ones that are plain wood. If you go for the plasticized ones, then actually it's much harder to add to alter them. It is doable, but you'll need to add a bonding primer of some description, or a gesso. My preference would be a bonding primer to it, to let your next layers adhere. So the plain wood frames just make life much easier and will short circuit that process for everyone. if that makes sense. And if there are options, then that's also seems to me to be good. Right, not quite 5th level. You can see that this is a recycled frame because I've got gunk on the backs of them. Definitely. And the other thing to do, ladies, is to just keep a savvy eye out on Hobbycraft's website, or on Hobbycraft's website, or nip into their shops, because they quite often have 3 for the price of 2 offers in place, and that will again if you're watching your crafty pennies, then that's obviously a good thing to do. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Sorry ladies, I am currently painting a very large frame. I don't think there's much way I can do this apart from wobble it around, and some of it will be in shot and some of it won't, just because I've got all of the sides and the returns to do. So having said that, I could do some of it. No, I'm not. I am going to do it all through, so the whole live is complete, rather than short circuiting, because I think it's more helpful, really, actually, to see the warts and alls and when it goes wrong, because things do go wrong, don't they? That's just part of life. Let's not put that in my pile of papers. Off to the side. There we are. I'll just do the sides. This is the headache, isn't it, when you're doing a frame that's 12 by 12? And I think this project could just as easily be done with the 8 by 8 pad of paper. Good morning, Claudia. Oh, Claudia, it's a while since I've seen you. That's lovely to see. I've been noticing what you've been up to, enjoying your pictures of your walking and the sea. It's a 12 by 12, and because I'm using the 12 by 12 paper pad, so that's why. So yeah, it's a good size. It makes a statement piece that will work. It's a Harry Potter-esque themed paper collection, I think. Certainly magic base. So I'm hoping a teenager might think it, or a young sort of might think it cool in their in their rooms as home decor. Maybe not, maybe. Who knows with teenagers? Who knows with teenagers? You never quite know, do you? But I think it will work for lots of Harry Potter inspired fans as well. There we are. So there we are. So there are lots of ways that you can upcycle or repurpose the wooden frame. So this is one of them. Over the next, over the time, we'll cover, some different ones. We might have a faux metal. We could do faux leather. That would work quite nicely. We can do shabby. I think I've done shabby before, so with the shabby effect medium, so we might not do that. But yeah, I'm thinking faux leather from the wood might be interesting, mightn't it? And I'm also thinking that we could do faux metal. That will work quite nicely. Right, sorry ladies, I just have to, there we are. Let's just pop that, balance that precariously, and then you can see what I'm doing on the rest of it. Hopefully some of it will be off, but once this bit is done, we can pop this to dry, and then, because it's going to get another layer, of course it's going to get another layer, it's me. I might do the mental note to self, might try some of the smaller frames to do some of the other effects with. Might be a good move, mightn't it, to because an 8-inch frame will fit more comfortably on the desk. I could zoom out, I guess, but that would require me to flip screens and move. There we are. And I'm not sure whether the rest of it will then behave. Who knows? Who knows? There we are. So do we like the idea of faux leather effects and faux metal effects? Let's just make sure we've got, excuse the head in the way. Excellent. Let's just take that and put that also on ground floor level, messing about. Cool. So we've got some prep to do. Is that dry? Maybe not. Let's just have a little wipe. Where's my little scraper? You know, there we are, that one will do. Let's just clear this mess before we have that. Thank you, Ant. I've actually got it zoomed in at the moment, but I need to, I think, zoom out a bit, which is, I had to reload quite a lot this morning, so I don't know if something had happened with StreamYard, or whether one of the recent updates that I haven't uploaded is now beginning to interfere. But hey ho, we'll see, we'll see. It's all is cool in the world. There we are. But lessons from Anthony for using StreamYard, always willingly received. It has to be. Good morning, Jenny. Thank you for joining us. Are you a Jenny or a Jennifer Jenny? My daughter is a Jennifer Jenny, alternatively known as Henny Penny. There we are. Right, that's that. And let's clean the purple off here. So yeah, many of you will know that I don't tend to do small projects, and I'm so not a card maker. If you want to see me making some cards, you may comment, because I am perfectly capable of doing them. You can translate the style that I use quite happily into card making. Just make very deep cards, and therefore ones for special people in your lives only. Let's turn that up the correct way. Let me just move to, I'm just going to do a bit of fiddling, guys, so just bear with. Okie dokie. Let me see if I can get this bigger. No, I'm not going to get it bigger. That's going to be a bit, that's zoomed in. There we are. So I know I've taken me out of shot there. That's intentional, ladies, but I think it will probably help with seeing some more of the detail, and I can swap back to the view with me at any stage. So I'm getting more happy with my control of technology, and I'm happy to move. So this paper, as I said before, for those that are joining, is Alchemy of Arts, and I think it's called Magic School, possibly. Let me just grab the paper. Well, she says, Legends of the Magic School. You see, look, big pack with lots of things in it. So there we are, Legends of the Magic School, and there's two coordinating ones. They came out just before Christmas. Now I know I'm putting quite a lot of stuff in the middle of here, so I don't need to add lots of stenciling, but I'm just wanting some extra interest in my background. So these are the recent released glaze pastes, and they work very well on dark surfaces, and although they look fairly similar in the pot, they give different colours. So this is the purple, so we're just going to add some of this, not quite randomly. And this is a Gothic text stencil from Finnabair. It's an old one, so for those of you that, you know, many of you might actually have it in your stash. And this is the iridescent blue, so we're just going to fill some of this in so we can mix the colours on our here. And hopefully we'll get some bluey purple shades, so that can go there. A lot of that's not going to be seen, and that's cool. Some of that edge will be seen, some of it won't be seen. So let's just pop some of this into here. And we can add, maybe I'll pop that back up there. We'll just add some more to the bottom of there. There we are. So let me just control this mess. Let's pop the purple in. Good morning, Sarah. All right, my darling. So you might be bobbing in and out, I guess, whilst the going's good. I tell you what, whilst that's out, we'll actually do the next step. So that can go back onto ground floor level drying, and I'm just going to wipe my well-loved stencil out. I think this one, because it's a Prima stencil, then it will, it's, you know, undoubtedly still available, I think. So, and yeah, the text won't stay that white on there. These pastes have a clear base when they're dry, and I think they're formulated essentially in Pentart's Heavy Body Gel Glossy, and the mica powder in those ones will just give a shimmer in the background. So we've got, there we are, we can do this. So I thought, potions. There's lots of bottle icons in the papers that I'm using, and just because these are paste doesn't mean that you can't use them as paint. So these are these are a mixture. So I've used this one, and one more of these comes from Legends of the Sea, the recent the Sea, Antonis's latest sea collection from Stamperia. So, and then we're going to add, so it gives this a very subtle purple undertone. I don't particularly want to cover and mix my two pastes in the pot, so let me just give these a little bit of coating, because I'm going to then add some waxes over these anyway, so it won't matter, and only bits of them are going to be visible, so that's good. We'll have a moderately slapdash approach to life because it's not so important. I think that's probably, might not be the one for there. We'll just swap it over, clean that. So that was the purple. Let's use a similarly cream crackered brush, and then let's just add some of the blue. So we've got some areas that are mixed up. As I say, the intention is ultimately that I'm going to add some waxes on these, but these can then sit and be drying, can't they, while I've got that out, and then that's those out of the way safely. And so the second mould that I've used is one of Finnabair's from last year. It is the bottles mould, and there's, I don't know, hundreds of different images, pieces in that. So there we are. Cool. So let's just tuck those out of the way. They won't stay like that. The whiteness will settle, and they will be quite subtle because clearly we haven't added a big layer of stuff over those. So to have that. wipe down and keep clean. Put that onto there, pop that over there, and then that's another pot of paste to get out of the way. That can go into there. That one is not quite dry, so let us. We are really mixing it up today. Well, just because we can. So, Hocus Pocus, witches, spells, witchcraft. I think we're going to go for rather than spells, and we might use the potions. We may not use all of these, ladies. Now these are MDF pieces. I suspect, I've had them in my stash for quite a while, I suspect they were possibly cut by the good ladies at Hobbylicious. They'll certainly have something similar rather than by anyone else, but I may be wrong. But again, die cut your words, find a sentiment, do what you want. I just want a moderately cream crackered brush for this. Okay, so I have now got the decor glue tacky. If you've got metal leaf glue, that will work just as well. Let me just grab a spare piece of cut and dry, because it's going to be easier with some cut and dry things rather than there we are, there's some cut and dry. So rather than painting it on, which might just do my head in, so this is a glue that dries tacky, ladies. Okay, so just a big glob onto here, squash it in a bit. I can pick it, I can pick what I want up off the base anyway. Then I've got myself a tacky pad. Don't need to buy fancy stuff. If you've got any of indigo blues, glue for their metal flakes, if you've got metal leaf glue, what essentially you need is a glue that is going to stay tacky when it dries. Just pop your cut and dry straight into a pot of water, so that see bits I've missed, just make sure I've actually hit everything. There we are, I think I have. Popping it on with that, because the next steps will only set on there once. Actually, why did I do that? Of course I said Wally, but of course I also have, because when you have potions you have cauldrons and bubbles, don't you? Never mind, we will retrieve these. And these definitely say that they're from Samantha Kay, so they'll be on her website. It's not something I use very often, but again, I don't want them plain coloured. So there we are, let's just pop those over there, pop those over there. Have I got another piece of cut and dry? Oh, that'll be a no then, won't it? That's not very helpful. Bear with, because we do have plenty of cut and dry. We know we do. Pair of scissors. So cut and dry, lots of uses for this. Ultimately recyclable. Thank you, Sarah, they are lovely, I have to say. There we are. That's me, I'm not engaged in my brain, and that's partly because actually having set my project up I then changed my mind about what I was going to do and add. There we are, let's just pop some more of that onto the cut and dry. You'll also end up with tacky fingers. Well, if you're me, that you'll end up with tacky fingers. So let's just pop that into there. I might want some more, but yeah, this is good morning, Sabine. don't want lumps. There we are. Don't want a thick layer either, so there we are. But you can see that by popping it onto a foam pad, actually it's far easier to control than if you were trying to do this just with your fingers. Hopefully we've got something on most of that, and a bit showing through won't matter. With a bit of luck, we've then finished that. She says famous last words. Right, let's just move these out the way, because if I don't clean this while it's wet, it is almost impossible to get off. Now you can put it through a stencil, to gill through a stencil, but in a hot area it will dry on parts of the stencil before you have a chance to get it in the wash, so be forewarned. It will then make your stencil forever tacky, which is all very well and good, but maybe not quite the look that you're wanting. There we are. So I'm just going to give these a blast dry when I can find the glue. There we are. Cool we go. So currently the glue is white on here, and will dry clear when it's ready. So at the moment it's reasonably well controlled in Manchester. We've had a little bit of rain. We are just outside the bad weather watch area, so that's also cool, I think. So just give this a little waft, and then we can get them. We'll have got most of the prep bits and pieces then done. I can give these a little dry whilst the going is good. We do have a bit more to add to the frame, but this way we're doing all of our elements first. Because I just think that that's there's a logical way. So I sort of know where I'm going with my pieces, but well, I think I know where I'm going with them. Hi Jenny. So Oldham is a little bit, for those of you who don't know your geography of the UK, Oldham is just north of Manchester, and it's a lovely area to be. So, and I think they might well be just into the severe weather warning area. But yeah, quite a lot of the northeast, northwest, west of the country, and a little smidging of the south of the country is set for bad weather or severe wind with the storms coming in. Still got some little areas of white on there, so let's just pop these over here. And I've got sticky, icky, tacky fingers, which is not good at the moment, but hey ho. There we are. They will dry. Dry those bottles while we're going is good. So just got one little area on there that is white still. Typical, isn't it? But there we are. Cool. Now then, let's turn that off. So you can see, I think, just how tacky that tacky glue is. Yeah, that's a light piece, but it really does go very tacky, which is lovely. Just grab picked up a card blank. See, they're all sticking conveniently to each other, which is what happens, because it is incredibly tacky, probably more tacky than most metal leaf glues. You can see I'm now fighting with them. Yeah, great. There we are. There we are. And we'll do these first, and then we'll do the words. Yeah, see? Tacky. And if those get a bit covered in this, it won't be too much of a problem. There we are. So these are metal flakes. This is M2. It's a mixed colour pack. The big areas, they'll stick to my fingers. You'll see wherever I am. But this is going to allow me to have good mixes, different coloured bubbles, and that's also fine. There we are. Let's just pop these over. You'll say any areas that you haven't got glue on, you will see, but that's also fat. You'll pick it up. That'll be because I've put that one down with the tacky side in the opposite direction. There we are. Doesn't matter that those are going to get covered, because they are going to be anyway. And I've now got a little bit of a scrubby cloth. A bit of dishcloth or a stiff brush will work just as well, ladies. You don't need to have, but something that's got a bit of texture will definitely make life easier. Is it a challenge to have little small bits in here? Yeah, it is, but it's all possible. So let me just give these a little clean around there, having taken the worst off. There we are. You can see why I've chosen to put my a piece of cloth underneath here. Now I like these mixed packs, but there are lots of different ones, and you don't necessarily have to have all the same. But I just thought these blues, golds, mixture tones would work quite nicely. There we are. These are moderately fragile pieces. They're beautifully delicate, to be fair, so just be aware of what's going on. That's the pack. So all of those bits can come over here. We'll move over to here, and I've got it supported. But this is a cheap IKEA kids pack of brushes. They've got lots of them in them. You'll quite often see that I use them because they are so cheap. And if you get tacky glue on these, they'll be your brushes they'll be ruined. So I wouldn't recommend them for painting because they're too thick and too solid. But they definitely have their purposes for things. Oh dear, that's never good if someone's trying to get onto someone else's Facebook page when they shouldn't be allowed access. There we are. Let's just clear off some more of that edging so that they look neat and tidy. There we are. So I'm rather hoping these will look a little bit like bubbles coming out from a potion. There we are. Good morning, Deirdre. I trust that you are well and that Ireland is not too adversely impacted by the weather. I think there were some areas there that I maybe didn't get glue on, but that's okay. It's not going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things. So I know I'm using an eclectic mix of stuff today, but which is, I think, probably why crafters end up with a huge stash of stuff, isn't it? Because we buy for different things at different times, fall out of love, then they sit in the stash, and then I think metal flakes might be making a comeback. I know they sold out incredibly quickly on Selly Telly the other day, and there wasn't metal leaf glue to go with the add-on packs, but you don't need a named brand metal leaf glue, ladies. If you've got one in your stash, that will, as long as they all basically are tacky glues, then they will work quite well. Good morning, Liz. There we are. So Liz is live tonight at 5, ladies, on I think this Wheeler Designs page tonight. So, you say, now then, let us do these. Now, I'm not mithered about mixing up my packets. Well, there you are. And then she's left one. There we are. We'll just shuffle that there. So we're just going to, I'm wanting the words to have some of this, but also to have a bit more colour, a bit more golds in it. So I won't be putting this lot back into my pack. So this is M9, which is just a plain gold. So I have a fan heater on. So this is going to go every which way. There we are. Yep. So this will, as I say, just don't be afraid to mix and match what you have. Yeah. Use the pieces. Have fun. There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words would be correct. You see? Yes, see. And then you'll be forever with bits of gubbins every which way. We didn't use a spouse, so let's just carry on using them. And I think that there's lots of ways of getting a metallic look. The mixed packs of foils just to me make sort of an old mixed feel, partially as if some of it has corroded or tarnished with time, just that bit easier. But I'm going to say the M2 with the bluey greens in it is one of my favourites. There we are. You can see now that by adding some of the pure gold in, that I'm getting a different look with these pieces. Yeah, these are fiddly. There is no question about it. They are fiddly because of the shape of them, but I think it will be worth it in the long run. And you could, of course, have got all of your glue down, all of the edges, but take it from me, you won't see it probably in the project in the in the frame anyway. And you definitely will end up with very, very sticky fingers. So this is a situation where I know I have mixed 2 different shades packets, and so I will definitely not put these back into my box, you know, into the original tub, so it's worth having a leftover takeaway container to pop bits in, and you can then build up your own custom blend of bits and pieces. Because even the only thing I would say is that the very fine sand doesn't, in my opinion, give you such a nice result when you're using it. You want, you know, but it will still cover and work quite well. Let's just clean that out and clean that out. There we are. So if people want to know where to get the papers that I'm using, they come from 14 Craft Bar, which is an Irish company, or message Sarah Wright, and she can probably get them in for you if you want them. Not aware of any other UK companies having them. If you're in the US, Cindy Crane of Miniature Luxuries has them, so you can get them out in the States, and I think there's lots of places in Europe who will be able to get them. I suspect Carolina can send that, they'll be able to ship them directly. There we are. I shall have bits now of gilding flakes every which way, because they will flutter in the breeze. Don't sneeze when you're using them, because they literally will snowstorm every which way. Let's just pop those out of the way. That can go out of the way, that can go out of the way, and that can go into a box as a kind of sorted mix. Yeah. We'll tuck that over there. We'll pop that into there, that into there, and that will weight those down. That can go back in its box with that. And then we'll just, so here, I don't know if you can see it, but I certainly can. I've got bits of flake stuck. So there we are. Let's just give that, because the flakes will get onto everything. Anything, any flake that's not contained will get into anything. Fortunately, I don't have lots of pets, so we're not going to have golden shiny pets, but there we are. There we are. So that can then go into there. Is the frame dry? Ooh. Aha! That frame is dry. Ah. So there we are. Clean brush. So we are going to add some crackle, because it wouldn't be a project for mine without a bit of crackle, really, would it? I am actually only going to crackle the surfaces of this that can be seen. This purple is beautiful. It's lilac decor paint soft, but it's not, it's a bit too bright for my liking. She says only going to tackle the top, and she probably puts a lot. Just wipe that off there. So this is the one component crackle from Pentart. So this is a PCP product. So paint, crackle, medium, and then paint. Always strikes me as mad that you call it a one component, but it's because you actually only need one product for the crackle component of it. So hopefully, there we are, and hopefully we'll have that all covered. That can go over there, that can go over there, and we can pop this down on the floor that is now running out of room. So let's just create a bit of space. Over there, we might be needing to do a bit of force strapping in a minute, but there we are, that can go over there. Then hope not to set on it. There we are. So we nearly have all of the components that I'm intending altering ready. There's still some white on some of this, so we give it a little blast. I think these are very difficult to pick up on camera. I can see as I move it I've got blues and purples tones in these, but as I say, I know from past experience it's really quite difficult to get that to show brilliantly well. So we've got but I'm going to add some cut waxes to these just to bring out the detail and just to add a little bit of everything. Yeah, Alison, I think that if you're on a surveillance program, whatever you do, whenever it comes up to surveillance time or scan time, you're worried about what might be going on with things. I'm going to actually swap, whilst these are dry, I'm going to swap my cameras back because I can. There we are. Hey. And it also takes some of the clutter out of the way and makes life much easier. I think hopefully Facebook will eventually catch up with what's going on. There we are. Is that Crafty Jack's got a second? Crafty Jack's is coming to Liz's weekend, Deirdre. So who said that we're going for a 3T scan? There we are. We're getting there. So these are chameleon waxes. So they all look, it's you. They're very good. Okay. So, well, I hope all goes well, my darling, because it's not much fun, is it? So that white paste will look purple. And this is sparkling silver. So I'm just going to add them in, layer them a little bit, and this is a colour called white gold. So we've got some magical potions that are not a single colour. That's the plan anyway. You can see how different that paste looks on the on there. Don't really want to contaminate, so let's just add a little bit of shimmer onto the top of that one. So it just adds just a beautiful, beautiful shimmery colour into the mix. And I'm being entirely random, but that's fine. So I think sparkling silver of the chameleons is probably my favourite, one of them, but I think you find the ones you want. Good morning, Faith. So I've got my blues and my purples coming through from underneath, and a mixture of others onto there, so that they're not looking to be single flat colours. So there we are. Very sensible, Faith. I think with the weather forecast that is predicted, it's probably prudent, isn't it, to be... Oh, there's one I didn't catch. There we are. There we are. I'll just add whilst the going is good. Because I don't think anyone's wanting to be out later on in the vile weather that we in the horrendous winds that are forecasted. Right, my frame is still drying. That is not a problem. Because we've got our base piece. Now this is still quite white, so I'm going to give this a good blast dry, because otherwise I'll smudge everything. And okay, so that's not quite the look I'm looking for. Good morning to your husband. He's definitely a keeper, I think. If he does that, my hubby brings me my breakfast in the morning, usually. Didn't this morning, bless him. But he did bring me a cup of tea. I'm a bit hit and miss when it comes to food first thing in the morning. But I did have a... just shuffle that up there a bit. There we are. Did have some toast before I went live. Nothing like waiting for paint to dry, is there really? But hey ho, there's not much else we can do. So Liz and I have been chatting. We've got lots of ideas, and we just need to get some bits and pieces and finally put our brains together, well, our hands on into making some pieces for the retreat. We know where we're going. Supplies are sorted and are on their way. We're hosting a retreat at last weekend before Easter, so at the end of March, up in Thornton le Cleveland, so there are some spaces if people still want to go. So I chose the iridescent blues and pinks because blues and purple, because I just thought it would add a little bit of colour. It'll be lovely to see. Are you driving over? There we are. Right, let's do some product control, because we have stuff every which way, in the way, and it's not quite completely dry, but it's manageable dry, so that's okay. So for those of you who've watched my lives before, you'll know that I do quite a lot of layering of my products. I have a stash, oh she says, moving things over, of grey board, and we're going to have a little bit of adding to our piece. So there we are, and this is my focal, which I'm deliberately going to have slightly off centre. So those can't, for me, to my mind, can't go on there with their white edges. She's now throwing stuff across. So I think we might, yeah. So we're going to do that. Where did that go? That's where that went. We've decided to fly. Okie dokie. Are you flying into Manchester, my darling? Or into Liverpool? So let's just mute those white edges. Could have just cut off all the extra detail, rather than having all the detail, but I sort of want it there, and I know that judicious inking will sort these out for me, and it will make it look a little less stark, because this isn't really a white project, if that makes sense. Either of them will work, my darling. If are you picking up a car when you get there? In which case it doesn't matter particularly. If you are flying into Manchester, then I can pick you up on the way in, because I'm in Manchester, so that won't be a problem to do that. Right, excellent. So we now have our base pieces. I think we might swap that around, and we're going to bring it down a bit. I'm conscious I've got a nice focal there, and I've got a nice focal there on the paper, so I don't necessarily want those to be covered, if that makes sense. So and then we're going to be tucking stuff under, over, in and out, as is my want. So that might be, and all these bits I'm cutting off will work just fine. There's my express glue. And this is why I use a shadow box frame, and sometimes I don't then even bother with, there we are, so that piece can go there. So that piece is now anchoring this image to here, and I'm going to now need two pieces onto here. A little bit. Okie dokie, my darling. Well, okie dokie. Well, into Manchester would be easier for me to pick you up, my darling. That's for certain. Yeah. So when you're adding the double layers, just be mindful not to add it where you're going to be overlapping, because otherwise, auto stage it. There we are, so that can sit into there. I could add some more stabilising pieces, and now, just to be pain, I now need 3, but hey ho, but that's cool. What? And am I going to have to go and find another pack of grey board? That'll be a yeah. That will be a yeah. As you can see, precision is not my name when it comes to these. There we are. I can use up the bits. There we are. Cooly coolio. That should have grabbed. So one thing with the express glue is that you need to just not mess with it when you're gluing. So that piece is now going to go over onto there. Good. Lovely. More grey board required. It's good. All is good in the world. We have lots of scrap. Big pieces of scrap, mind, but nonetheless, big scrap it is. And these little bits will get recycled on another project. So that is all cool. Right, so I now need to pop a big piece underneath there. Pop another bit underneath there. Might be a bit thicker, but hey ho. There we are. Shovel that underneath there. That's one more up. So that's all adds to the fun of life. We can pop that piece into there, because that is underneath that. And then we can add some extra pieces. There we are. Yeah, and I can cover that piece that's tucked underneath there because I'm adding lots of layers anyway, so that will work. So let us just add that onto there, that onto there. There we are. Excellent. So we now have the central base for our composition. So we're going to tuck in some of these potiony bits. There we are. Oops, she says that can bubble up there, and we're going to add a bubbly bit up there. And again, this is another one where you could actually just pop your glue onto a sticky pad, to help pop it into place. There we are. So I'm building my elements and lifting them up onto, and I think we might go for piece number 3 over there. There we are. And that one can go into there. Right, excellent. Now then, let's grab some of the other bits that I know we have to have lurking around, because why wouldn't I? Right, excellent. And now we have a large collection of images to add in. Yeah. So when I was working with this, I decided my first piece was going to be my wizard, because he's obviously a focal. So let's just add him in to here. So I've got my Oodie on again, and now I am red hot, but I need the fan on. Okay, so he's going to sit onto there. I know I've got a gap underneath there, but I will fill that shortly. So for the time being, I'm going to take him and I'm going to pop him onto there. And let me just stabilise that, or the bottom of him, a little bit. Thank you, Deirdre. That's lovely. Yeah, the flowers made by hand, petal by petal, are definitely a labour of love. No problem, Jenny. No problem. As I say, I'm deliberately choosing to do my lives so that you understand my warts and all thought processes with what I'm doing, because it doesn't make sense any other way to do that. And I'm going to need another piece tucked in underneath there, so let's just do this. The more pieces of card that you put under, the more stable your piece will be, so just be aware of that when you're working. And I've got you can see I've got lots of elements here, lots and lots and lots of elements here. Yeah, so I'm wanting to pop my little owl up onto the top, so he's looking down, because magic schools all have owls, don't they? Yeah. Pop that, give it a little press, let it settle. Move it over a little bit. There we are. So he's tucked behind there. Now then, we have some big pieces. These are MDF chip pieces. We have potion bottles and more potion bottles. Yeah. So let's just pop that onto there, and that is not going to need an extra bit because it can sit there. There we are. But that one, you can see that it's tilted and flattened, so that is definitely going to need a piece underneath there to support it. And my grey board is not the same height as my MDF pieces are, so we'll just add a little bit of this to it. And these, there we are. So this piece, oops, that isn't the bit that was going there, it's this bit that's going there. Now tuck under there, and let me just tuck you down so you're flat. So I'm putting in my bigger elements now, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm building my composition, hopefully in a reasonably straight line across that. So I like that one there, but I'm going to add that to cover that. And then we're going to add some more pieces. So I'm going to tuck the rest of those in as we go. So as you can see, I've got lots of different elements here, and I can pop that piece underneath there. So these are just chipboards. They come from 14 Craft Bar. There's a lot of different ones. There's a lovely lady called Margaritska who is in the UK, who does Harry Potter themed chipboards, so you don't just need to ship in from Ireland. Yeah, he would make a fab mould. Right, now then, so we've now got lots and lots and lots of extra pieces. And we've got another. And these all come from the fussy cut pad. There we are. Let's get rid of that bit. So that's going to go up into there. So you can see where we start to layer our pieces. And let's get rid of that blue, that white even on here, because it's too white. And let's just pop that up over there. So he's popping out. Okay, so that's my top layer processes. Now then, what have we got here? We've got all sorts here, literally all sorts. So let's just pop some of this lot out the way. So I like the fact that we've got the little old lady, and I'm going to pop her over there. So there's so much detail in this pad of paper, yeah? So that can go there, and that's probably my bag because I glued that with hot glue, and so I now can't lift it off, but that's okay, and we'll stabilise that long term anyway. There we are. We've just managed to wriggle that in underneath there. So now we've got gaps that I know I want to fill, so we're going to start popping some of these pieces up and under, building our composition, filling in the gaps as we go. So lots of potion bottles, and it's definitely easier when you're doing something like this to add new pieces. I am using Legends of Magic School Faith is what I'm using. It is by Alchemy of Art. There we are. So that can go there. That's a relatively big piece. They're small pieces, they're small pieces, they're small pieces. We've got some more candles to add. That, and that's fine, we're going to add that. That's another big piece, that's another big piece. So we're going to start adding lots of these pieces in. So I wish I would stop putting it down where I can't see it. You're welcome, darling, you are most welcome. There we are. So let's just pop that into there. So you can see why I tend not to have everything all perfectly glued down in place. Why I tend to have layers that I can pop stuff up and under. I think I'll pop that one over there. So all I'm doing is adding my layers, playing about. Yeah, I have had a sort of a play with this ahead of time. I sort of know where I'm going. It won't look anywhere near my first piece, and that's also just fine with me, because as I say, it is very much about working and adding the layers together. So that one can go onto there. And I don't mind that I'm losing things and hiding things, because to me that's part of the process. There we are. So there we are. So there we are. We just need It wouldn't be a piece for me, Aunt, if it didn't have lots of detail added, lots of imagery. The pads make it easy, to be fair. Now so then you decide to put your pieces in on the opposite way around. Ha 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 ha. There we are. But never mind. There we are. So we're just going to pop that piece into there. Give that a little squash. I might not use that now. Right, so what have we got? We've got another treasure chest. And I'm going to pop that flat. I like adding all of these layers. It just, for me, is what makes a piece all come together. So do I want another piece of board on there? Now if you are going to put your piece under glass, just be mindful of the numbers of layers that you add, because otherwise you'll find when it comes to popping it into the glass, you can't fit the glass on. Ask me how I know. That'll be because I've got that t-shirt. There we are. So that can go there. I'm conscious I've got gaps. Now I could add some cheesecloth and dye that. I had got some out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep this one not with the shabby elements. The shabby elements would work, and surprise, surprise, ladies, I actually haven't got out any flowers for this piece because I just didn't think that it worked. But obviously it's up to you how you like your pieces to be, isn't it? There we are. So I know that I can feel that bouncing, and that's fine. So I know I need to now to add a second piece just over here. Yeah, we're all the same, Deirdre. It'll be relatively easy for you to get this papers, won't it, my darling? Because Agnes has got them in stock. There we are. Okay, so now we can add another bottle, because we've got a space to tuck it. Yeah, and we've got gaps here, and that's fine. So I'm going to add that, and I'm deliberately going to pop it at an angle. That might cause me a few challenges, but I'm wanting to link these elements. So we'll just pop a little bit of glue down there and a little bit of glue up there, and hopefully we can then anchor it on the two pieces, if that makes sense. So there we are. Sit that back down where it once it belongs. So I've now got lots of spaces underneath here that I know I want to fill, and that piece isn't going to fit in there comfortably, so we're just going to give it a little haircut, because why not? But that will also give me two pieces. Don't want the white. So he's now sitting up there. We'll have a little mess. I think we're going to pop that one underneath there. So this is what I do. I tend to have lots of pieces prepared, and then I sort of audition where I want to put them and then carry on. So butterbeer, do I want it that way? Do I want it that way? For my eye that looks better. And the thing with making pieces like this is that it means that you are definitely covering elements up, and that's also just fine, isn't it? You know, you can build your pieces as you want as you go. If I had I need to go a hat there. There is another reasonably big piece, and there is another reasonably big piece. So and because I've got lots of chipboards there, I can anchor that. Right, but that means I need some more chipboard down there, but it's going to fill a void in the process, because what you don't really want is all of your elements floating in the middle of nowhere, because that's not good look. So that's going to go there. So I know I want to pop that piece in there. So this is definitely a warts and all see how we make it project, and that's good, isn't it? Because I think it's helpful sometimes for people to see actually what goes into making the bigger pieces. So that piece can go underneath there. That will stabilize those. That's going to go on there. That's going to go on there. Where's that? There we are. There we are. That can go. I'll give that a good, reasonable coat of paint. There we are. And that piece can go into there. And that piece is going to go onto there. So that again is going to need several pieces of. You could use a glue gel for doing this if that was easier for you, ladies. But you'll go through quite a lot, so this will help. There we are. So I want that in there and over there. You can see where I've got my gaps. That piece is too long. That can go there. That can go into there. Okay. Good morning, Carolina. Thank you very much for joining in. So the lovely Carolina, who's just joined us, ladies, is the originator of this collection. She has some, well, you all know that I have been using her papers for a wee bit now. I love them. They are just lovely, lovely. And we're just going to prop up all of these pieces onto here. We're just making a little diorama, little scene added all into here using your papers, because why wouldn't you when they are so beautiful? So beautiful. And I want him up there, so let's just add another piece of that. So next time, I think what I will do, ladies, is I will pre-stack some of my pieces of. There we are, we've got the butterbeer. So we've now got lots of extra pieces, lots of bits that I can tuck in and under. I'm still very conscious that I've got this piece floating here, and that's fine. And I've got some extra bits that I'm wanting to add in. So I'm going to pop that into there. Let's just grab. There we are. So we've got another candle sitting over there. Do I want all of that? I don't want all of that, and that's what pieces are for, isn't it? So that can go underneath there, because that's going to work better for me. There we are. So that goes there. Right. And now we're going to carry on adding and layering. Do I want some more bubbles? I might want some more bubbles now. I might, on the other hand, I might not. I've got bubbles to add. I don't know whether I want the whole piece or just part of a piece. So I am going to, just because it's made one way, doesn't mean, of course, that it has to stay made one way. And could I have cut that a bit smaller? Yeah, I could. So let's just link that piece. I am conscious if I'm not careful I won't be able to get the frame on the outside of it, so hence the chopping stuff down and avoiding some of the areas from there. So we've got lots more pieces that I'm wanting to add because we've got them all. There we are. We've got our wizard in his room. I might add another one of those just tucked into there. So all I'm doing now, ladies, is looking and filling gaps, if that makes sense. I know I've got a gap down there, and that's also fine. I'm going to pop that into there. I want it up a little bit, but I'm just going to add goodly blob of hot glue here at this point to help bridge those gaps. Anyway, Yausha says that was not what we wished to do, which was to burn the fingers on the hot glue that we've then promptly splodged onto our make. Let's just get what we can off there, and we'll cover that bit. Yeah. Now you know why I was using all of the bits of cardboard rather than hot glue, because that really has burnt there. But there we are. There's always ways and means around these things. So we've got another piece there. She says, yeah, that was not comfortable. So that's going to go onto there. Thank you, Faith. There we are. Do I want that there? Do I want that there with that underneath that? Yeah, that's sore. That is sore. avoid the hot glue gun for the moment, ladies, because that was definitely an ouch moment. Let's just move that over there. Move that over there. Yeah, I think it's called Years of Working with Children. You weren't allowed to use expletives when working with kiddies, kiddlywinks. It would definitely have not been considered acceptable in any way, shape or form. So now we can start to add. That will need either some gel medium or a bit of that. There we are. Maybe we don't want that one. Maybe we'll have. We definitely have to cover that bit, because that's where there's going to be a horrible splodge of hot glue. Right, now avoid the fingers at this point. There we are. So that's, and it can be popped up. So let me see. We have in this collection a set of toads. It really is magic school, isn't it? So they can be just popped out from underneath there. And I'm very conscious that we're going to end up with layering, and that's just fine. I'm going to start to pop my words in place. I've got a flat line, and my so he's a bit floating in the middle of air, which I'm not a great fan of. I don't know that I want to have again the whole of that piece. So that one, you can see that I'm really not afraid to take my pieces. I've managed to put my glue down now. Answers on a postcard clip. Oh, there we are in the bin. I did fussy cut them all out, but if you have a scan and cut, they've all got a very clear boundary between white and colour. So I do think that you could very definitely put them through a scan and cut. There we are. So we want Hocus Pocus. Because you have to have a sentiment, or I do. There we are. Get rid of that bit of flake that's sitting up there. Okie dokie. Which there we are. That will work. Yeah, I think that the Polish ladies really do know how to add layers and layers with their projects. There we are. And I might not add this We all know I'm a more is more person. Well, I just get an old-fashioned pair of scissors out, Deirdre. I just find it easier. There we are. So let's just see what we've got to add into here. I think we can add some of these pieces will work. So I'm going to lift that one off just temporarily so we don't have finger burning malarkeys. I'm going to tuck that bottle and that bottle underneath there. There we are. And now we're, oh, that's what you've done with it. And then we can pop that onto there. A bit more glue. There we are. So that links all of those in. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that sometimes they do, if you're not very careful. Don't want that up there. I have got lots more of these. I'm going to pop that under there. Make sure I don't burn my fingers this time. Thank you, Anthony. Oh, yeah. I might pop that into there. And just put some pieces that are still a bit floating in the air for my liking. So there we are. Does it matter that my frogs are covered? No, it doesn't. And let's just pop that underneath there. Is that Crafty Jack's using her? Well, chop off the bottom of the bottle, why not? So the text is up the wrong way. There we are. Right. You see, do we need to stop? Yeah, probably. Yeah, because that bottle is not grounded at the moment. And I'm conscious I've still got the frame to do, ladies. Ah, she says. But it has now dried. There we are. So if you have lots of elements cut out and you're like me, you'll use them all. but the layers all add. They really do. Yep, needed the books. So all I'm doing is grounding all of my elements, ladies. So we still have some bits, but actually sometimes you have to know when to stop. Have I got to the point where I know where I want to stop? Probably not. There we are. That bit's too big. But that bit is just right. This is the bit I chopped off earlier. And just sit under there. Right, let me stop fiddle faddling. Have I used all my elements? No. Have I got some bits left? Yes, not much. Right, so that can go. I know what I was going to do, but maybe not. Maybe with that we've actually got enough. I'm thinking about adding some glitter and some micro beads, but I'm not going to, because I think to me it's now looking plenty big enough. Good morning, Sarah. How are you, darling? Right, let's just pop those pieces safely out of the way. That piece is out of the way. This is eggplant. So it's a decor paint soft chalky, and it is a one of their vivids. So this is dried. So let's just add this over the top of it. So the frame was painted, and then I added the one component crackle over the top of it. And as you know, my preference for these is to have a fine crackle, not a big crackle, and then you do really need to make sure you don't go overwork the top there. So let me just get this all scrabbled through. It won't take us very long. I'll give it a dry. You can always then add some extra gilding to it if you want to. Oh yeah. Give it a blast with a and off screen I will paint the edges if I don't like the texture from that. Very good. That'll be lovely, Sarah. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you very much for sharing, my darling. Very, very true. Very, very true. Let's just move this onto screen. There we are. crackle of one form or description, definitely part of my signature activities, isn't it? It really wouldn't be a piece for me without a degree of crackle. Now I happen to, I knocked some of my pen pot onto this, so I think I disturbed the crackle when it was drying off. Certainly in one corner, and I have a feeling I've just found that corner. So I can see that it's crackling. If you're on a big screen, I think you will probably see it's crackling. If you're on a small screen, you probably will struggle. There is a reasonable degree of contrast between the pieces, but there we go, there. Thank you, Anne, for letting me know that, my darling. Good morning, Mitch. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Gemchi. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right and not butchering it, my darling. I apologise if I am. Got a thick layer of paint here and one up in the corner. So it will continue to crackle on its own as it dries from below. So I much prefer this crackle effect with put on with a sponge. You can paint it on. You'll get much more regular cracks rather than the irregular ones that I've got here. So that's fine. You know, choose the style that works for you. So after I finished with my live, I've got kitchen cupboards to go and empty out, because my lovely kitchen, which is 15 years old, is delaminating, which is a pain in the butt. But I think it's something that's becoming quite known to happen. Got some areas that are wet still, so I just need to get them dry, otherwise I'll end up with wet paint on my project. So so we're having all of the laminate removed, and then it's being spray painted next week, because that is considerably cheaper than having a whole new kitchen put in. Right, so I'm just going to be careful at this point, because I'm not going to lock it in place until everything is properly dried. But there is our piece. There is our frame. Good, we have managed not to have any of that too far onto there. and this will go onto here. There we are, and that will be our finished piece. But as I say, we'll let some more of this dry before I squash it all into place, otherwise we'll have an almighty mess. So I thank you so much for joining me this morning. So Faith, I'm told by the guys who are coming to do ours that delaminating is very common, that it yeah, and I think that might just drive me crackers doing the whole of that. I will let you know how we get on, and if it works as well as they say it will, then I will let you know, because it certainly appears to give a very professional finish. So for today, this is our make. I could carry on fiddling, I could add some little micro beads, we could add maybe some glitters into here, but I actually think that with the gilding flakes, actually we've got enough going on for the whole piece. So pared back possibly for me, still lots of layers, no floral elements because I didn't feel that they're right. I will be back live and we'll let you know how we've got on with the kitchen fitters next weekend, probably again 10 o'clock on a Sunday, because that will give me a chance to have put the kitchen back together by then. So ta-ta for now, stay safe with whatever you're doing, and we'll hope to meet again next weekend. Bye.